Pell should have died. Let me start with that. It's one of the two things that I don't really like about One Piece. The other thing I don't like is that Shanks lost his arm back in Chapter 1, which I did already cover. I also didn't really ever like how Luffy's fruit worked, especially the gears, but I did get over that pretty quickly towards the end of Wano, and it will be brought up in a future video for sure. Unlike the arm though, I haven't really been able to come up with a good in-world reason for Pell to have survived. But is it really that bad that he did? Like with Shanks' arm, I've heard that an editor wanted to end Alabasta on a light note, and that was way back when Oda wasn't a money printer, so he was a bit more at the mercy of the editors and publishers. But whether it was coercion or just that Oda himself wanted to end Alabasta on a happy note isn't too important for this discussion. Many people say that Pell being a minor character is all the more reason that he should have died. But I say that's all the more reason that it's fine for him to have survived. And that may be why Oda didn't really fight it if it was an editor's suggestion. If Pell were important, it would have just been plot armor and lazy writing for the character to have survived so the story could keep moving along. But he's not important. What difference does it make that he's still alive? Not much, if any. And if he does end up being important because of his fruit and being a guardian of Alabasta, it could have been just as easy to promote a new guard and given that guard the fruit, just as they had done for generations. So his survival or death has zero impact on the story in that regard. It's not plot armor if his death wouldn't have changed the story whatsoever. The main reason people seem to hate it so much is that they think that it lessens his sacrifice. But does it really make his sacrifice any less meaningful? He thought he would die. Everyone else thought he would die. You thought he would die. If you ask me, that's what's important, not whether or not he actually died. If he were to just go ahead and off himself because he thought that he should have died, do you think then it would suddenly become more impactful again? No, it's not because he died. It's because he thought that he was going to die, and even so, he sacrificed himself. Imagine jumping onto a grenade to save people around you. Would the fact that the shrapnel just happened to miss your vitals and you survived somehow make your action any less heroic? Oh, he survived, so it's no big deal really. He's just another guy doing the common sense thing to do. No, you jumped on there thinking that saving those people was more important than you living. That's the heroic action. To be clear, I still don't like it, and I think it was a bad decision to make him live. But this video isn't about how it's good that Pell survived. It's that Pell surviving isn't that bad. I still think he should have died, but not for any narrative reason. Just because it really doesn't make sense. It makes so little sense that even power scalers don't ever bring up the point that some random birdman from early in the story basically took a nuke point blank and survived, walking around just fine a couple days later. Hey, Editor Me here, just to add a couple things. I have also heard that the reason that Pell needed to survive, or Alabasta needed to end on a happy note, was because of some world events that were going around that time. You see, Pell went kaboom in Chapter 209, which came out November 26, 2001, which is a couple months after something else that happened in the US involving kabooms. I don't know if that really is why, but it's something I've heard, thought that I should mention that. And while I was doing the recording, I made it sound like we haven't seen Pell since, other than in little cover stories, but he was in the Reverie, or Reverie. But like I was saying, it isn't really that big of a deal. He didn't need to be there. It could have just been anyone else with the Falcon Fruit. It has been established that generation to generation, one of the two guardians gets the Falcon Fruit, and one of the two guardians gets the Jackal Fruit. Alternatively, it could have just been Chaka. Pell didn't need to be there. There wasn't really any thank you alarm. But yeah, there wasn't really any reason for him to be there. It's not like he had plot armor so that he could be there. It's not important. He could have just as easily been someone else or just Chaka on his own.